Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving into something pretty big, a roadmap for change in Bangladesh called DAFA 30. And listen, this isn't just some dry policy paper. We're talking about a multi-year blueprint that aims to completely overhaul media freedom and civil liberties in the country.
Yeah, this quote from the source material, it really sets the stage, doesn't it? This makes it clear right away that we're not just talking about a list of suggestions. No, this is being framed as a foundational blueprint for what the authors are calling a national rejuvenation. Big words, big ideas.
All right, so here's how we're going to break it all down. First, the big vision. Then, what is DAFA 30? After that, we'll walk through the 4 steps, from immediate actions to the long-term plan.
Okay, so before we get into the nitty-gritty of media reform, we really have to understand the sheer scale of the ambition here. I mean, this isn't just about tweaking a few laws. The goal is to change an entire nation's trajectory.
And it all starts here, in this book. It frames the whole project as a revolution for rejuvenation. You know, that kind of language, it tells you right away the authors believe deep, structural change is needed, not just some quick, surface-level fixes.
And the goal? Well, it is incredibly ambitious. The book straight up says the aim is to elevate Bangladesh to the level of countries like Japan or Singapore. You know, places seen as beacons of stability and progress. But it argues you can only get there by tackling these 3 huge challenges head-on: poverty, corruption, and social injustice.
Okay, so you've got this huge vision, but how do you actually make it happen? Well, that's where DAFA 30 comes in. It's the specific tool designed to tackle media and civil liberties. So, what exactly is it?
This logo really gets right to the heart of it. DAFA 30 is imagined as this powerful Commission for Media and Civil Liberties, and it's all built on these core pillars: free speech, a free press, and of course, fundamental human rights. Now, to really get why this plan is being proposed with such urgency, you have to understand something called the Digital Security Act, or the DSA. It's an existing law that's been heavily criticized by rights groups for, curbing free expression. And getting rid of it, that's an absolute cornerstone of this whole proposal.
So what you start to see is that this is a multi-pronged approach, right? It goes way beyond just repealing one law. We're talking about everything from the safety of critics living abroad and addressing past injustices, all the way to the day-to-day working conditions for journalists, and even the country's image on the world stage. It's comprehensive.
And here's the game plan, all laid out in 4 clear phases, each with its own timeline. You can see the progression, right? It starts with immediate legal fixes, moves on to building new institutions, then it expands to global outreach, and finally, it's all about locking in that long-term stability.
All right, let's dive into that first step. The proposal makes it really clear. These first 6 months are absolutely critical. The whole idea is to build trust and get some momentum going with immediate, decisive action. So, right out of the gate, there are 3 high-impact things they want to do. First, kick off the legal process to repeal the DSA. Second, announce a general amnesty and set up a task force to make sure expatriate journalists and activists can return safely. And third, and this is very specific, quickly restore ownership of a newspaper to journalist Shafiq Rehman. It's meant to be a powerful symbol of their commitment to a free press.
Okay, so after those first big moves, the focus starts to shift. It's less about immediate repairs and more about building new, lasting structures. And this is the plan for the next 3 years or so.
So in this next phase, the first big goal is creating a powerful, independent media commission. And the plan is very clear that it has to be bipartisan, which, is a huge challenge, but it's central to the whole idea. At the same time, it's about improving life for journalists, better pay, more job security, better benefits. And then the focus widens to the world stage, launching an international media presence and setting up a special unit just to protect journalists.
And that global outreach part, it's incredibly specific. The plan calls for a huge state-supported push, launching 10 new English-language international channels across both TV and social media. And the goal, they state, is to counter what they call false propaganda and to, proactively shape how Bangladesh is seen by the rest of the world.
All right, so on to the final piece of the puzzle, making it all stick. How does the plan propose to lock these changes in for the long haul? How do you go from actively making reforms to just lasting stability? Well, this final phase is all about that. It's about replacing the DSA with a new, non-repressive cyber law that's actually based on international standards. It also requires regular check-ins on the Media Commission to see how it's doing.
And it calls for stronger ties with international groups like the UN to help keep everyone accountable.
When you boil it all down, the logic of DAFA 30 is pretty straightforward. It's a problem-solution model. For every big challenge they see in the current media landscape, they propose a specific, structural fix. So you replace restrictive laws with a new framework, and you swap journalists' insecurity with real institutional protection.
And in the end, every single one of these steps, from repealing a single law to launching 10 TV channels, it's all designed to circle back to that one huge, ambitious vision we started with, to help transform Bangladesh into a beacon of progress for the whole world to see.
So we've just walked through the entire plan as it's laid out in the source material. It's definitely a comprehensive, very detailed blueprint for change. But it also leaves us with one final and pretty critical question, right? Because a roadmap is one thing, but actually navigating the political and social landscape to turn that map into reality, well, that's a whole other challenge entirely.